Here is what I would do today if I was diagnosed with type 2 diabetes. Now, before we get to that, my name is Chris Feakins and I am a type 2 diabetic specialist. My area of expertise is helping ladies just like you lose 40 to 60 pounds, lower your A1C and achieve clinical remission with your type 2 diabetes, an A1C of 5.6 and below, and get off all medications. And I have helped over 380 ladies lose a combined 14,000 pounds. That's an average of 40 pounds each, and that is just one-to-one. There have been thousands more ladies helped in a community setting too. Now, just for a moment, forget that. My name is Julie, right? I am a 53-year-old woman. I might work full-time. I might have kids. I might have a husband. I might have a partner. I might have kids or grandkids. And I've just been diagnosed with type 2 diabetes. This is exactly what I would do today. First of all, I would unfollow anyone that pushes extreme diets like keto or plant-based. And the reason why is because these approaches require us to eliminate far too much of what we enjoy. Bread, pasta, rice, and even sweets. Eliminating these foods is a short road to absolutely nowhere. It's miserable, it's unsustainable, and excuse my language, it sucks. Right? This isn't a motivation problem. This isn't I need to be more disciplined, I need more willpower. That's not the problem here. The problem is that the approach is unsustainable. The method is the problem. The system is the problem. So instead, I would learn how to include the foods that I love. You can eat bread, pasta, rice, and even sweets and still be successful in losing weight and lowering your A1C. Instead, we want to learn how to manage the foods that we love. And if you're watching this and you're thinking, but Chris, I can't eat sweets and bread and rice in moderation, then there's a reason why, and there's nothing wrong with you, but there's a solution to that. Most ladies with type 2 diabetes try to eliminate too much of what they love. And then 3-4 weeks later, they wonder why they've quit. They feel like they're sat on this little island all by themselves, this little deserted island all by themselves, whilst everyone goes about their life enjoying the foods they love, having to prepare different foods to the rest of the family, and it just can't go on. So instead, we want to apply the trifecta rule. Portion, frequency, and balance, right? Portion is quite simply how much of the food that you consume. Frequency is how often you eat it, and balance is what else you eat, right? For example, a donut. One donut. You can eat a donut and lose weight and lower your A1C. Can you eat 3 donuts? Probably not. That's going to cause some issues, right? That's portion. Frequency. A donut once a week. Yeah, that's fine. A donut every single day? Probably not. That's going to cause some issues. That's frequency. And then last, balance. A donut is completely fine, but pasta for lunch and pizza for dinner and a donut as a snack is probably not going to work. All of those things are fine. You can eat all of those foods and lose weight and lower your A1C and achieve remission, but probably not all in one day. The ladies that I coach learn how to apply this to their everyday life, and because of that, they can actually stick to it. It feels enjoyable. They're able to eat the same food as the rest of the family. They're able to go out with their girlfriends, with friends. They're able to live a normal life. They haven't got to get their life and turn it upside down in order to be successful, and you don't have to either. So the first thing that I would do is learn how to include the foods that I love, like physically. How do I do that? What are the steps required? But then also psychologically, how do I eat donuts in moderation? How do I eat my favorite foods and not consistently overconsume them? Okay, because there's solutions to all of that. We can learn how to include the foods that we love so that we're actually able to stick to it for the next 4, 5, 6 months. And also, once we achieve that goal, guess what? We can maintain the things that we've achieved. We can maintain the weight loss. We can maintain remission by just simply continuing to do that. The problem with keto and other extreme diets is they're too hard to stick to. That's not a you problem, that's a method problem. But also, once you get to your goal weight, right, you're not going to follow keto forever. Why would you, right? You've got another 30 years of life left, plus, right? Maybe more. Are you going to follow keto for the rest of your life? Are you never, ever going to eat bread, rice, pasta, or sweets again? Now, that sounds pretty miserable, right? We've all got personal preferences, but I love those foods. So you get to the goal weight. You're not going to follow keto forever. So you return back to what you know. And guess what? Returning back to what you know gets you back to where you were. We want to, again, learn how to include the foods that we love so that we can continue to do that. We want to learn how to include the foods that we love so that we can transition easily into a weight maintenance and A1C maintenance phase without having to change much at all. Losing weight and lowering your A1C does not and should not require you to change much. It does not require you to get your life and turn it upside down. We just need to make some subtle adjustments to what you are already eating. Which brings me on to the second thing that I would change. All of the ladies that I coach, we go through a process called Baseline Breakthrough, and you can do this too. Baseline Breakthrough involves us making just 2 to 3 easy adjustments that take less than 10 minutes a day. The average in the first month is 6 to 10 pounds lost, with blood sugars dropping 30 to 40 points. We make it so easy, anyone can do it, regardless of commitments, work, and any other balls that we're trying to juggle. And that's the problem. Most ladies with type 2 diabetes are trying to juggle far too many balls. They're trying to cook dinner for the family, keep up with the household chores, work, look after the kids, the grandkids, the parents, the grandparents, and eventually it just gets all too much. And your priorities get put all the way down to the bottom of the pile. What if your priorities took less than 10 minutes a day and you were still able to lose 6 to 10 pounds and lower your A1C consistently over these next few months? Right? We want to get good at those 2 to 3 things that take less than 10 minutes a day. We get consistent, we get comfortable with them, and then we slowly evolve it as we go. Right? And that might be taking your lunch to work. It might be writing a grocery list and making sure you get everything that you need. Right? It could be all manner of different things. It could be tracking what you eat, maybe, if that suits. And it's important for this, whatever it is that you start with, that it suits your imperfect, perfect life. Everyone's different. The process is like a bit of molding clay, right? We want to be able to mold it and shape it to be whatever you need it to be. And this process is exactly the same. It is incredibly important. It is integral that the process is made to suit you, not you made to suit the process. So I would follow anyone that pushes extreme diets that require you to change too much, cut out too much of what you enjoy. It's not going to work. You've already got the evidence. It's not motivation. It's not a discipline problem. It's a method problem, a system problem. The second thing I'd do is I would learn how to include those foods. And the third thing is I would just focus on 2 to 3 easy, specific adjustments, get good at those things, and then slowly evolve them over time once you've established them. And like I said, this entire process is like a bit of molding clay, right? There are tons of different ways to bake a cake and the cake still tastes delicious. Remember that. And the final thing that I would do, not everything is going to go to plan, right? You're going to stumble, you're going to trip. There's going to be times where you set intentions, but we're unable to follow through. You can't be perfect. Perfection isn't a thing. We can't set the bar that high. You are not going to be perfect. There are going to be challenges. There are going to be setbacks. However, we want to reflect upon what caused that setback, what caused that stumble, because if we're unable to identify that, we're not going to know what to change. And if we don't change anything, we're going to repeat these same patterns of behavior: late night snacking, reaching for food on the way home, right? Getting over hungry, right? Cravings, whatever, right? Emotional eating. We need to be able to identify the catalyst, the reason why we make the choices that we make, right? So whenever something doesn't go to plan, reflect upon it. There's going to be typically one of 3 or multiple of 3 reasons why you stumbled. It's going to be environment and temptations within it, right? Colleagues at work bringing things into the office. It's going to be the snack drawer under your desk. It's going to be your husband, your partner bringing things into the house, your kids, your grandkids bringing things into the house. So it's going to be environment and temptations within it, right? It's going to be you in that moment, not you all of the time, but you in that moment. Stressed, emotional, overwhelmed, bored, upset, whatever, right? Not you all of the time, but you in that moment that created that potential stumble, right? So environment and temptations within it, you in that moment, bored, tired, stressed, emotional, right? And lastly, just things you're not very good at yet, like being sufficiently prepared, making sure you pack your lunch for work the next day. Just things we need to practice and get better at. We need to be able to reflect upon why the stumble happened in the first place, so we can address it, so we can break that pattern of behavior, so that, not so that we're perfect, but just so it happens a little bit less. What I would do today if I struggled with cravings, late night snacking, or even binges. These are all videos that we're going to cover, and we're going to go through the exact steps that we need to take in order to, overcome these challenges and become just that little bit more consistent. If you've got any questions, comment down below. I don't want you to leave this more confused than when you came. So any questions, please do just put those down below. So stick around. These are all episodes to come, and I'll see you soon.